Doctor. In the TARDIS. Next stop, everywhere.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Charles Skaggs, back in the TARDIS once again. Well, actually, Torchwood Hub. I have to keep reminding myself because, hey, we're here at Torchwood Month. This is our second episode for the month of April 2021, and sadly, my partner in time, Jesse Jackson, is not able to join us this time because, sadly, he's under the weather. He's been having some health issues. As you could probably tell from our previous episode, They Keep Killing Susie, because it ran a little late getting that posted. And Jesse, poor Jesse, is, he's still struggling. So our thoughts are with him. But thankfully, joining us, so you don't have to listen to just me, which I'm sure is a huge relief to everyone. Please welcome, all the way from the Five-ish Fangirls Podcast, once again, the wonderful, delightful Holly Mack. How you doing, Holly?
Doing well, thank you. And Jesse, sending you the very best of well wishes.
Yeah. Jesse needs all the positive vibes, you guys, because we're all worried about it. So hopefully he's okay. Yeah. So fingers crossed. So keep him in your thoughts if you would. And, he did say, though, that Holly and I should go ahead and proceed without him. So we're here with his blessing, although obviously we have some very big shoes to fill, but we'll try our best, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And I have faith that Holly and I can take it. So it's kind of nice because I just checked that when I was logging on, I noticed that it's been pretty much a year to the day almost since it was just you and me talking.
Right.
According to my Skype record, when you says last updated or last used, in the person to person chat 1 year ago. So probably for Torchwood Month last year. So
probably, yeah.
That would be about right. So here we are again. So what is this? Jesse takes off 1 week, a year, around this time. That sounds a little suspicious, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Did you miss me?
Well, of course I missed you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here, and I'm sure everybody else is too. So here we are, episode 227. We're talking Captain Jack Harkness. We are going to talk about the character, okay, granted. But this is the episode title, the actual episode of Torchwood titled Captain Jack Harkness. And this was one that was specially requested by you, Holly.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you might share what was it about this one that kind of stood out for you? What made it a personal favorite you wanted to talk about?
What made it a personal favorite for me is we get to find out more about Captain Jack. Before we hit record, I was telling you this is one of my top 3 Torchwood episodes.
Right.
And was I with you guys when you guys did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
I think you were. I know we've done it. I know we've discussed that one, so probably.
Yes. So that's one of the 3. This is number 2, and spoiler alert, the next Torchwood one I'm on is number, but no particular order, but is the 3rd favorite.
Okay, that's fair. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that episode at the end of today. So Stay tuned. Mm-hmm. So we'll just leave that little mystery for now for those who don't know. Those who follow us on the Facebooks, that you probably know what we're talking about, but if you don't, that's okay. We'll talk about it. All right. Yes. So this episode, Captain Jack Harkness, was the 12th episode from Series 1 in 2007. So we're looking 14 years on this one. Written by Catherine Tregenna, who wrote some more Torchwood episodes, including Out of Time, which gets referenced in this story, Meet, which is a pretty disturbing one, probably the most disturbing episode Torchwood ever did.
And then the one where they went camping was
Adam.
Second.
Yeah.
Adam,
Yeah, she wrote that one as well. But she also wrote an episode of Doctor Who, The Woman Who Lived, which we talked about last time during our, Reverse the Polarity section. So, and we've talked about before here on the podcast. So this one was also directed by Ashley Way. And of course stars John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness, at least one of them. Eve Miles as Gwen Cooper. Bern Gorman as Owen. Oh, Owen. Owen Harper. We'll talk about Owen. Yes, we will definitely talk about Owen. Naoko Mori gets the spotlight in this episode, which I was really happy about, as Toshiko Sato, because I think Tosh gets kind of overlooked a lot because she's such a very quiet, reserved character, and I was really glad that she got a prominent episode this time. And then, of course, rounding off, Gareth David Lloyd as Yento Jones. And guest cast, we have Murray Melvin as Bilis Manger in his first television appearance on Torchwood. The next one, which is the following episode, he's in End of Days. That's when we see him next. But he's also done some Torchwood Big Finish audios, I noted.
Yes.
He's done, probably reprising his character of Bilis Manger in A Kill to a View, Deadbeat Escape, and Dead Man's Switch.
Yes.
So if you want to get more of the really creepy, beady-eyed Bilis Manger, yeah, you might want to check those out. He was also, interestingly enough, in the 2004 version of The Phantom of the Opera, which my wife is a huge fan of. So,
I'll have to check that out.
Yep. We had Matt Rippy designated here as the captain, although as we find out in the course of the story, he's the real Captain Jack Harkness. And he's been in episodes of The Crown, which my wife is currently watching upstairs, by the way. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, The Dark Knight, and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. So, pretty impressive resume.
Yes, very.
For the real Captain Jack Harkness, right? Ellen Reese plays Nancy Floyd. She turns up in the movie World War Z, which featured Peter Capaldi as the WHO doctor. Get it? Doctor Who doctor, right?
Saw what you did there.
No, I didn't do it. They did.
I know. The creators, yes.
Yeah, the guys who cast him. That was just the most ironic bit of casting ever. And also, she's been on Broadchurch, so thought that was interesting. And then, she's the one who Nancy is the one who is the girl who is in love with the real Captain Jack Harkness and is unaware that he's a homosexual.
Correct, yeah.
And we also had I thought I'd mention Nadine Beaton, who plays Audrey, and she's the one who kind of jumps all over Tosh, thinking that she's some kind of spy for the Japanese, and only to be quickly corrected.
Very quickly corrected.
Thankfully Jack swooped in just the right time, because that could have been really awkward for Tosh, and that's something I want to talk about when we get to Tosh.
And at least Jack didn't throw a punch at Audrey, even though she probably deserved it.
Yeah, she did. But to be fair, Jack was smart enough, he didn't want to start a scene. It would only make things worse for them, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right. Trivia. So, if you noticed, when for example, when Gwen was checking out the dance hall, and she leaves the dance hall, goes outside, she goes through the front doors, and on the walls there, on the door, I think it was, or at least by the door, there was a certain poster, wasn't there?
Yes. For a certain president, a certain soon-to-be master.
Soon-to-be prime minister, perhaps?
Vote Saxon.
Yeah, Vote Saxon. So this is actually the first appearance of those Vote Saxon posters, because this takes place before Doctor Who Series 3.
Yes.
So chronologically, when this was aired, this is the first time we got to see those. And of course, at the time, that didn't make any sense. Nobody thought of anything of it but only after Series 3 and then of Doctor Who, and then you go back and you're like, oh, there it is. That's a cool Easter egg.
Yep.
So I thought I'd mention that for you eagle-eyed Easter egg spotters. Notably, in this one, there are not one, not two, not three, but 4 Jack Harknesses in this time period. In the World War II, 1941 time period.
Right.
So for those of you keeping track, one is the one from this episode that goes back through the rift with Toshiko. Okay, that's one. The second is the Captain Jack who volunteered for the RAF, which was seen in The Empty Child. Right, with the Doctor and Rose. That's 2.
Yep.
The third Jack is the one who attempted to return to the 21st century using his vortex manipulator, but accidentally ended up in 1869 and had to wait until the present day while his vortex manipulator was broke. And so therefore he's currently living in the era with Torchwood, as was mentioned in the Doctor Who episode Utopia. And then the fourth one is the Jack that's buried in 27 AD, only to be dug up in 1901 by Torchwood and put in a cryo chamber to be awakened later in the 21st century. So he's present, just frozen, in which we find out in the next episode, Exit Wounds. So that's 4 Jacks. So you think the universe would just rip itself apart on that one.
Mm-hmm.
With so many Captain Jack Harknesses.
Paradoxes.
I'm sure the TARDIS would just hate to be there at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Something else I thought was interesting, Jack's original name, because remember, as we find out, one of the big reveals of this story is Captain Jack Harkness isn't his real name. Kind of like the Doctor, he's got a little bit of a mystery, right? So what's Jack's real name? Well, apparently we find that out because it's later established as Javik Pyotr Thane in Big Finish's 2017 audio story, Month 25, which was released 10 years after this episode aired. So if you ever wonder what Jack's real name is, Javik Pyotr Thane. Pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm, very.
And lastly, I thought I'd mention that, when Owen and Yanto are arguing about, their previous girlfriends, Diane Holmes and Lisa Hallett, while they were trying to, while Owen's trying to, start up the rift, and Owen and Yanto is freaking out and trying to prevent him from doing that. The episodes they were referencing, if you're wondering, were Cyberwoman, which was written by Chris Chibnall, and Out of Time, which I talked about was written by Catherine Tregenna.
Right. And I think that might have been like the episode before this one, or 2 episodes before, if memory serves.
Oh, Out of Time? Yeah, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was very close. So which is probably why Owen's emotions were so raw at this point, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So do you have any other trivia of your own you'd like to share, Holly?
Nope, I think you covered it.
Okay, good. I like it when I do that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always open to because in case I miss something, so that's cool. So we have 3 topics today. Topic number 1, let's talk the 2 Jacks. Kind of like the 2 Doctors. That's where I was going with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or you could always say a pair of Jacks, right? So
mm-hmm.
this of course is Captain Jack Harkness and Captain Jack Harkness, and so this like I said, this is the big episode where we find out that Captain Jack Harkness isn't Jack's real name. He's actually named after a real life person named Captain Jack Harkness, who is from the 1941 time period. And it just so happens, well, hey, thanks to the wackiness of Torchwood, that these 2 get to meet. And
mm-hmm.
which is really awkward because our Jack, Torchwood Jack, knows that the real Captain Jack is going to die. in a plane crash. So after saving his men in a battle. So what did you make of this? Because when you watched this for the first time, did it really blow you away?
Yeah, it did. It was just like I was with Tosh, jaw dropped. What do you mean?
Yeah.
He's Jack Harkness. You're not. Is to paraphrase a certain other TV character, instead of Lucy, you have some explaining to do. Jack, you have some explaining to do.
Right. And to Tasha's credit, she tries to get some answers out of him, but Jack isn't very forthcoming. He gives her just enough.
Right. And we're almost kind of getting the same Jack from Children of Earth, where it's just like, if you tell me, you're not going to like me.
Right.
And it's just, Jack, sometimes these types of secrets, yes, they're good to be hidden, but if it's going to be a detriment to the team, you need to spill.
Yeah. You would think he would have learned that by now, by this point, right?
Yeah, you would think, but
maybe I don't know if he just feels that, well, from experience with a doctor, that he feels like I need to keep these secrets, or he thinks he's trying to protect his team. He's trying to look out for them, but just being so clueless that it makes people wonder about him and not completely trust him because he's not open with them.
Right. Or unless he's waiting to spill everything to the doctor and see the doctor's reaction and then go based off of that.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes always, as we know, the doctor isn't always the best role model when it comes to secrets.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But so Jack, in the process, obviously can't go by the name Captain Jack Harkness, so he takes on an alias, Captain James Harper, and uses that during the course of his stay in 1941. But interestingly, he starts taking an active interest in, so I don't know if we should just call it. I'll just call the 1941 Jack. We'll call him Captain Jack, and then we'll call our Jack Torchwood Jack to differentiate.
Okay.
Does that work? Because I think
that works.
It might get a little confusing, so let's stick with that.
Right.
So Torchwood Jack, he sees that Captain Jack is, reluctant to kiss the girl he's with goodbye before he goes off on this mission that Torchwood Jack knows is going to lead to Captain Jack's death. And so Torchwood Jack, says, "Hey, life is very short. You need to go. You need to kiss her." And after some persuading, he finally, just as she's ready to walk out the door, he stops her and kisses her, and which Captain Jack immediately regrets because the woman, Nancy, tells him that she loves him now.
Yes.
And so, obviously, that Captain Jack, being gay, this is obviously a problem, and he feels bad because now he feels like he's lying to her.
Right.
And leading her on a road that he's not obviously ready to go down romantically.
Right. Yeah, because I think he was thinking, if I don't say goodbye to her, I'm in the clear. If something happens.
Yeah.
And
she wouldn't, she'll miss me, but, she'll be able to get over me. So maybe he feels that now if I die, she's not going to get over me.
No.
And it's going to hurt.
Right. And if I do make it back, then I'm kind of trapped.
Yeah.
In a relationship.
Yeah. Then I have to figure out how to deal with that. But so this kind of becomes a little awkward, and then soon it becomes very apparent that both Torchwood Jack and Captain Jack are actually attracted to one another.
Right. these sparks were starting to subtly fly.
Yeah. So, did you buy that romance? Did you think it was believable?
At first, no, but then after, I kind of started to. And then just with the way that Jack was speaking,
Mm-hmm.
Torchwood Jack was speaking to Captain Jack, it's just like, okay, you've lost somebody, or did Jack somehow have a dream of something into the future where he knew he was Yanto in Children of Earth, and it's just like, regret, you need to make it known now, because we kind of see the developing relationship with Yanto and Torchwood Jack
Right.
towards the end of season 1. So I don't know if I mean, looking back now, you can kind of see connections into the last Torchwood series before Miracle Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Children
with
of
the
Earth.
relationship, children. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's still. I think that's still probably why Children of Earth remains my favorite Torchwood story.
Yes.
Because just for so many reasons, but no. Ultimately, at the toward the end of this episode, the rift opens back up, and we'll talk more about that. But before Jack and Tosh return, there's a very interesting moment where Jack and or Torchwood Jack and Captain Jack are on the dance floor, and all of a sudden, Captain Jack takes Torchwood Jack by the hand and leads him out to the dance floor.
Yep.
Shocking everybody, because remember, this is 1941.
Yes.
Yeah, this is obviously not something that was done in the open, and and especially regarding military officers, right? So everybody's just kind of like stunned, horrified, not knowing what to do. You know, it's something that, it's obviously something that's very...
There were laws on the books back then.
If this had happened in real life, it probably wouldn't have happened, because, this is something that only like a TV writer would come up with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very realistic, but it does kind of give a little bit of a fairy tale ending to this episode in that regard.
Yeah.
So, and then the two, all of a sudden, like, everybody else kind of seems to, like, they kind of freeze in a weird way. Only Captain Jack seems to be able to move for some reason. Maybe because he was with Torchwood Jack when the rift opened. I don't know.
That's possible.
And so, Tosh is urging Jack to go, like, hey, Jack, we got to get back through the rift, buddy. And Jack is all like, yeah, but there's this guy, and he's hot. Yeah. So
I stole this, like, even Jack said, I stole the guy's name. I didn't know he was hot. And it's like,
right.
Jack.
So he's very reluctant to go, even when, despite the urgency of this. And then, so Jack, like, turns at the last moment and gives Captain Jack this big kiss, and it's just before he leaves through the rift. And so there's a very cool, nice little shot where, Captain Jack steps into the center of the screen as we see the rift closing, and like, they had their one moment, and then that was it forever, because of course Captain Jack goes on to die in a mission.
Right.
Although, so I have to wonder, like, was time altered here?
Right. Yeah, it makes you wonder. And I'm getting
or does nobody remember that particular moment? Because presumably, if they did, he wouldn't be allowed to go on the mission, right?
You would think so. Yeah. Like, he wouldn't go.
That's my guess. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm thinking 50-50. I mean, but then you also got Bilis playing fast and loose too, so who knows? He could be pulling strings too. And I'm getting a little, Captain America-ish vibes from the original Captain Jack, you know.
Me too. Me too.
Torchwood Jack, kind of like the Peggy Carter. You know, okay, at least they had the dance,
right.
But instead of, you know, Captain America getting put on ice, it's Jack.
Well, and it's so funny.
Torchwood Jack.
It's so funny that you say that, because the actor that plays Captain Jack looks like he could play Captain America, right?
Yes.
This, this Matt Rippy, he's got a very Captain America look about him.
Yes. I mean, 1941, I'm just like, oh boy, my mind just went crossover.
All right. Well, it could happen.
Fanfic writers, gauntlet thrown.
Yeah, go. Oh, there you go. There you go. You heard her. Holly threw down the challenge. So
when Captain Jack met Captain America.
To the keyboards. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. All right. Anything else? Because the only other thing I was when Jack and Tosh return to the present. They do a nice little toast at the end of the episode to the real Captain Jack Harkness, which was nice. So, anything else about Jack or Jack you want to add?
Well, I really liked when Tosh and Torchwood Jack at the end had their moment with everything that had gone down, and Tosh saying that Captain Jack would have been proud of Torchwood Jack taking his name because of how he's been able to help save the world. And I thought he needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Because he was looking for that affirmation that, yes, I am doing the right thing even though and it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, and Tosh kind of gave him that little bit of reassurance, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. And I like the fact that, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I love that Jack got paired with Tosh in this episode.
Yeah.
Because you rarely get to see those two. I mean, you see them in the scene here, a scene there, but that's about it. They don't really interact much. Not like Jack and Gwen or Jack and Yanto, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really like to see that because, they're very polar opposites, especially like when they first get there. And Jack's kind of swept up by the grandeur of the idea that, hey, I'm back in World War II, and here we are in a dance hall, and he starts trying to twirl Gwen around, twirl Tosh around the dance floor, and she's like, Jack, my laptop, and she's obviously not into that, he's almost kind of flirting with her a little bit.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. I like this because it's a very odd pairing, but I thought they worked well in this episode.
Oh yeah. And Jack was trying to tell her everything was going to be okay, which it turned out to be. But then Tosh knew the time period, and she's just like, with my heritage, I'm going to get singled out.
Yeah. But he did say he would protect her. In a way,
she was kind of right. But exactly. And he was true to his word, especially with George. It was just like, buddy, can't you take no for an answer?
Right. Yeah.
And then
that guy
that
was trying to manhandle her a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And Torchwood Jack knew that a fight was going to break out, and he's just like, okay, I'm just going to let him take the swing, and we'll go from there. And then Captain Jack steps in, and it was like, okay, good way to introduce them, and then the story.
Then the fun begins, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Anything else about Captain Jack or Captain Jack?
I think we covered it.
Okay, sounds good. So since we're talking about Tosh already, let's move on to topic number 2, which I like to call Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture, which is a nod to Hey Ya by Outkast, if you're wondering.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But of course, Polaroid camera, get it? So let's talk about Toshiko Sato, Tosh, and the uber creepy Bilis Manger.
Yeah.
Because this guy just makes your skin crawl looking at him, right? The way he just
does.
kind of stares all beady-eyed at you.
Mm-hmm. And the way he just kind of slithers into a
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, he does. Kind of like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He does have kind of a Mr. Burns look about him. But yeah, let's talk about this. So Tosh, poor Tosh, she's getting ready to go to a party and ends up being dragged in by Captain Jack, or excuse me, well, Torchwood Jack, I should say, if we want to keep it straight. That they're investigating this report about music from the 1940s being heard at this derelict dance hall called the Ritz. So this is the setup for the episode, and they get there, and Tosh is a little like hey, I was going to do a party, and then when they get they realize they're in 1941, it's bad news for Tosh because even though Pearl Harbor doesn't happen until December 7th, 1941, there's still this wariness about the Japanese because they're allied with the Axis powers at this time. And so not really a good time to be Asian if you're Tosh. And, we talked a little bit about this, but I have to think I felt really bad for Tosh because it's one of the big problems when you're time traveling, as we talked about on Doctor Who, like for example, recently where we had episodes like Rosa,
right,
where I'm blanking on the character's name, but you know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah, Graham's nephew.
Graham's,
I felt bad for
Ryan.
Ryan, thank you, Ryan Sinclair. There we go.
Yeah.
I just need that first name, and I got the rest of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ryan Sinclair, yeah. So when he goes back, obviously to that time period, it's very awkward for him, a very dangerous time. So it's kind of the same thing for Tosh. Is my point here, and complicating matters is Bilis Manger, who always seems to turn up at the most inopportune moments when Tosh uses his office just to try to take a picture of the formula.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like he knows she's going to be there, and he's all like, "Oh, I guess I've caught you once again into my office."
Right. Yeah.
So what did you make of Bilis Manger, apart from just being creepy as all get out?
Apart from being creepy, we haven't had a whole lot of story opened up to him as to what or who he actually is, because then we get the shot of present day when Gwen's there. Bilis is there, alive and well, hasn't aged a day, and it's just like,
Yeah, and they make that connection, but they don't really follow up on it. Like they don't.
No, they don't.
There's no real exploration about where he's from, who he is, really. And what his deal is. Why is he immortal? Or is just that is he not immortal? He's just a time traveler. Is that it?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, just those complete dark eyes. It makes you wonder.
Right? Is he even human? Is he an alien? Perhaps. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. You just don't know, and for whatever reason, we don't get that story. At least, I don't know if we get in the audio. I know that you've listened to Torchwood audios.
Yeah, and it's been a while since I've listened to the Bilis ones. I still, if memory serves, he's still kind of an enigma wrapped up in mystery where not too many.
Wrapped up in a riddle.
You get you get a couple answers and then you get 15 more questions.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a very enigmatic villain. I like him.
Yeah.
Because he's something different, and he's one of the more notable bad guys in Series 1 of Torchwood, as far as I'm concerned. So I wanted to
And
know
not,
more, so I wanted to know more, but I didn't get that. I think it's one of the failings of the
oh,
series. I think
yeah,
it's like we
yeah,
needed to know a little bit more about this guy.
yeah. And at least he wasn't a typical scenery chewing villain.
No,
He's real low key. It's just like, yeah, I can be nice to you, but then if you don't pay attention, I'm going to stab you right in the back.
yeah, pretty much, or I'll sneak up on you when you least expect it. Instead,
Right.
like he just kind of like nothing will go on, and he'll just pop in the screen. Hi,
Yeah. It's just like, we need a collar with a bell for you.
you're right. Yeah, like almost like he's a cat, perhaps, and
Yes.
an evil cat that
Mm-hmm.
somebody needs to keep track of. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I thought was interesting is they make a big deal about him having a Polaroid camera, but at this time period, 1941, Polaroid cameras had not been invented yet, especially the film.
Ah, right.
So that doesn't happen until I guess like 6 years later, apparently. So,
Mm.
which isn't a big deal if he's a time traveler. That makes sense. He brought it back from the
Right.
future, but you kind of wonder like why nobody else wondered about that thing. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just to the complete shock on Torchwood Jack's face when Bilis steps out with the meeting between both Jacks, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, we need to take a picture of this moment. And it's just like, why?
Right. Well, it's almost like you wanted the present day Torchwood to
To
be
find
able to
out.
find them, perhaps. Because
That could
do you
be.
think it maybe he manipulated this that he wanted Gwen, or I keep saying Gwen because I'm so used to saying Gwen and Jack. He wanted
Right.
Tosh and Jack to get trapped so that the present day, the 2007 day Torchwood would be forced to open the rift. So
That
this was maybe this was all intentional, which is why he wanted that photo taken because that would lead the 2007 Torchwood to figure out things enough and use that kind of steer them in the direction of opening the rift, perhaps.
that could very well be. And then too, maybe also to cause enough havoc to possibly maybe break up Team Torchwood
Yeah,
and then have free reign.
but
That could also be
yeah,
too.
it just kind of seems like that motivation is something that we should have known what he was really up to,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't get that.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that as a writer, I noticed that little thing like, okay, he needs to have a reason why he's doing this, as opposed to just, oh, I'm just doing it because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
What's the purpose? What's your end game,
I'm
pal?
evil.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Part
evil.
of my move. That's the yeah.
But
Part of my MO.
yeah, it's my modus operandi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the interesting things that Tosh does is in the process because of being interrupted by Bilis, who, like I said, is always there when you don't want him to be. She takes a photo of the formulas, but doesn't get all the formula, like because her attention was distracted at the worst moment. So she has to kind of finish off writing the formula, and she does it using her own blood.
Right.
And presumably with the reason that if she did it in pencil, it would fade. But if she did it in
Right.
ink, wouldn't that be better, perhaps? Or just she used what was
Right.
available, so
Right.
she didn't happen to have an ink and quill on her, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
So she just used that lid to kind of cut her hand up and wrote with her own blood. So what did you make?
Literally taking one for the team.
Right. She's got she literally has blood in the game, I guess. So so what did you make of that moment? Do you think that was pretty resourceful for her?
Very resourceful and then shocking because I mean at first I thought it was just that it was just rust
Yeah.
that she was able to liquefy. But then it's like, oh, no, that's actually when Gwen said it's blood. It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Ouch.
Well, and also,
Yeah,
they were able to prove that it was Gwen. Or, I keep saying Gwen. Why is that? They were able to prove that it was Tosh, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, it was very resourceful on her part and trying to figure out, I like the way that she was being very scientific about it. She's like, she was looking for a canister, but, she realized that, this one, it was the one that she picked was airtight.
Mm-hmm.
Realizing that if air got in, that would decay the message and whatnot. So,
Right.
so it would be more, vacuum fresh, I guess. And be able to be preserved over the decades until. But you think she would have left some clues, I guess, to help people find that.
Yeah, and her memory was good to figure out a hiding spot where she knew that current day team would be able to find the clue.
Because she had been in there, in the present day.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of knew where some of the areas were that existed in the present day. She just had to make sure that something could survive until that moment, I guess. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else about Tosh?
Just that we get a mention of her family and that it was her grandfather's 88th birthday that she was missing.
Oh, that's what it was.
Hold
yeah.
on. Yes.
Right.
Because she's just like, 88's a important number, and I'll gladly come and help you. It's like, then I get to go see some guys throw some rice at each other.
But,
I think Jack probably had every intentions of getting her back on time, but didn't work.
Yeah. And especially, it didn't help. He wasn't exactly rushing when, after meeting the real Captain Jack Harkness, right?
No.
He wasn't exactly in a hurry at that point.
No.
But, but I felt bad for Tosh because, apart from just, being potentially a danger just because she's Asian, in this time period, that, she was very, touching when Yanto was reading that blood written formula. And then at the bottom it says, tell my family I love them.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, it just kind of showed that, that's where her thoughts were, realizing that.
Exactly.
So,
I might not make it back.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, if presumably in the progression of original timeline, that, placing those canisters with the formulas, if they made it to the present day, then presumably at that point in the time, in that timeline, Jack and Tosh never made it back to the present until 2007 happens, and then the rift was opened up, and then history was changed after that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
When erasing Jack and Tosh from 1941 to 2007.
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah, it's all a bit timey-wimey, right? It makes your head hurt.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sorry, I just got a little carried away there. It's time travel.
Well, that works.
I just geek out over time travel.
Yep.
All right. Anything else about Tosh? No. Okay. Or Bilis? Or anything else you want to add about Bilis?
Bilis, creepy. Hopefully we'll get a little more. And like I said, I have to go back and re-listen to some of those audios. And then there was one Torchwood novel that he was in, but I think he was just a little bit of not a complete role, but he was in it.
Do you remember which one by any chance?
Just a second. I'll have to.
Okay. All right. And I'm not trying to pressure you here, so don't worry.
No.
All right. So while Holly's kind of pondering that one, why don't we move on to our third topic then? And this is a topic that you might understand why I titled it this. Topic number 3. Is Owen dead yet?
Oh, I can understand. Yes.
Because I'm watching this episode, and Owen annoys the living hell out of me in this episode.
He got more jerkier.
I didn't think that was possible, right? Because
I know
he's a jerk, but he's like super jerk in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where like I'm literally cheering Yanto for shooting him in the shoulder.
Yes. Yes.
Regretting that, he doesn't kill him, but then I kind of console myself that, well, hey, in series 2 he dies anyway, so we're good.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But actually dies twice, interestingly enough. So, but yeah, I'm so frustrated with Owen's selfishness. And that's basically what it is here, right? So let's talk about Owen. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Yanto, the poor guy who has to deal with Owen just going bat-ass crazy. And let's talk about Gwen, poor Gwen, who's just trying to do her job, cares about Tosh and Jack, and is trying to help bring them back from the past. So thoughts on Owen or Yanto or Gwen?
Thoughts on Owen? Yes, you're missing Diane. Get over it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Yanto had Lisa. Okay, granted, yes, she was a cyber woman, but still, cut the man a little slack.
Right.
Yeah.
So as we know in this episode, so Owen is consumed by the idea that we've got to open this rift. We got to open the rift because that's the only way I'm going to see my honey bunny, Diane, again.
Right. He's missing Diane something fierce.
This woman I knew for maybe all of, a week total?
Right.
Perhaps. But, that's it. He can't think of anything else. And to make matters worse, and this is why the really frustrating part for me, is it doesn't matter to him what kind of danger it puts Torchwood, his team, the entire city of Cardiff, or the world by opening the rift. It doesn't matter to him. He just like, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. And damn the consequences. Exactly. And I'm like, are you kidding me here?
Right.
Would someone please tranquilize him?
Yes, if Jack were here, you'd be locked up downstairs with the Weevil.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Or stick him in the, one of those, drawers with Susie Costello, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Put him on ice, something. And I was like, Yanto, instead of just shooting him with a regular bullet, why didn't you just shoot him with a tranquilizer bullet? Or, knock him out.
Right.
So he can't do anything.
Right. Well, and then, too, when Yanto does shoot Owen is turned, so he's shooting him in the shoulder, but also kind of in the back at the same time. Not. Yeah. It's like, okay, I see the where they were trying to go there.
I mean, it was just this. And I'm just like, who is in charge of this baby? And, because he's just what he is. He's just acting like this out of control toddler and having a temper tantrum almost. Only essentially he's just like, I don't know if he's just horny or if he's just.
Right. Or a combination of the two.
Or too far in love. I don't know what. Something. Yeah. He's so consumed by this. He's almost like he's fixated. Like, I need to get Diane. Everything else be damned. I'm doing this.
Right. Because Yanto's just like, you're not in charge. And Owen's just like, yes, I am. Jack's not here.
Yeah.
And then that spouts off, you're the nothing but the tea boy, da 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 da. And it's just like,
because it snowballs.
Pushed the wrong buttons.
Yeah. Because of course Yanto having, standing up to Owen. Owen, that just infuriates him more because he just sees Yanto as this, this, like you said, the T-boy. He's the office gopher. So who are you to be talking to me, pal? I'm the second in command now that Susie's off the board.
Right.
And I want to know, like, okay, who made Owen second in command?
Isn't Gwen supposed to be second in command, even though she's out on the...
When did this happen? I mean, did I miss something?
Right.
Was there a vote?
I think Jack's pecking order is Jack, Gwen,
right.
Owen, Yanto, or maybe Yanto, Owen, depending on
is it like
Jack.
Does he think he's like number 2 because he's got seniority, perhaps? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know how this works, but he seems to think he's in charge. And consequently, he's like, I'm not going to, I give 0 Fs what you think, Yanto. I'm going to do what I want. I want, Diane back. That's that's all I need. So it was like he's a junkie and he needs his Diane fix. So, so thankfully, Yanto shoots him, but unfortunately, it's too late because, he had activated the rift after finding the missing piece of the rift in Bilis's grandfather clock.
Right.
Which he went to the Ritz and under the guise, and this is another thing that kind of infuriated me. He goes there under the guise of like, oh, hey, I'm going to go research and try to help Jack and Tosh.
Mm-hmm.
But all he's doing is looking for that missing piece so that he can get Diane back. So again, he's being selfish here.
Right. And doesn't Yanto even say, or Owen realizes that, oh crap, this was Bilis's plan all along, and we fell for it and got played like a fiddle.
Right. Well, apparently Bilis knew exactly how Owen would react. And, then just it fell from there. So it's like he knew that Owen would be the dumbest one to open the rift and do what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when Owen went to check out Bilis's office and he comes across Gwen and, Gwen says, did you find anything? And, he goes, no. I gotta get back to the hub or whatever. And so she goes, well, I guess I'll keep looking. And he's all, yeah, you go do that. You do that thing. Whatever,
to distract her while he goes back.
So again,
I'm going to go back, open up the rift and,
He doesn't care about Jack or Tosh.
Well, and then too, and I think they're also kind of trying to avoid each other because I think around about this time there was the fling that happened between Tosh and
Owen.
Or not Gwen and Owen.
Gwen and Owen, yeah.
Right.
So you think it was a little awkward then?
Yeah.
Okay, that might make sense. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I never understood that either. Why Gwen hooked up with Owen?
No. Bad lapse in judgment.
Bad decisions, but all around.
Yeah.
All around. Mm-hmm. So this Torchwood, Torchwood 3 is like a HR department nightmare. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Nobody's dating anybody.
No, not at all. All right. And then finally, after Jack and Tosh get back, I like the fact that Owen has to take out his own bullet wound.
Yeah.
Like nobody else is either willing to help him or I don't know if it's just they're not capable. You would think, especially Jack, being in World War II would have known at least some basic triage, or Gwen.
Right.
Or maybe Owen didn't want anybody else but him taking that bullet out, but
that could be true too, because somebody might slip and make it worse or forget the anesthetic.
Yeah. Or maybe just forget to get all the bullet out. Just saying. Because we got some fragments out. Did you get all of them? Yeah, maybe, probably. Yeah.
Probably.
Wink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But anyway, so I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about this episode that we overlooked? You want to add?
I don't think so, but I did find the book that Bilis was in.
Oh, what is that? What is
It's
that?
called Twilight Streets.
Twilight Streets. Okay, interesting. And Bilis is into that. That's interesting. I'd like to learn more about him, so I might have to check that out. Hopefully it's still available as an ebook or something.
I believe it is because I have a physical copy, and then I did purchase a ebook copy.
Excellent. All right. So there you go, guys. So don't have anything else. So favorite quotes. Do you have any favorite quotes you'd like to share?
Let's see. There was a lot of touching stuff, but I'm trying to, let me take a look at my notes. Well, the one to revert it back to Owen, get out of, and Yantos is like, get out of there, Gwen. That's an order. I'm sorry, but who exactly put you in charge with Owen? And it's just like, really, buddy?
Yeah. All right. Do you have any others?
And the one that I had mentioned earlier with Tosh and Torchwood Jack at the end.
Yeah.
That he would have been proud.
Oh,
Captain
okay.
Jack would have been proud of Torchwood Jack taking the name.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Let's see. What do I have? Okay, so I've got Captain Jack Harkness. You know, when they first arrive at the dance hall, he's all looking up at the ceiling and looking around. He's like, wow, look at the chandelier. No neon lights back then, just dashing young soldiers and pretty young ladies. And as they danced, the girls would look into their partner's eyes, smile softly, and say, and Tosh says, Jack, mind my laptop.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, I was getting a little echo there. And then Captain Jack responds to that. He says, I was thinking more along the lines of, and how long before you head off to war?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I thought that was good.
Yep. That was really good, yes.
Let's see. Tosh with Jack later after they go back outside the dance hall and their SUV is gone all of a sudden. And Tosh is like, where's the SUV? Has it been stolen? And Jack kind of notices this flyer for 1941 and realizes and goes, no, we have.
Yeah.
We've been stolen.
We've been stolen.
We've been stolen, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else.
You could almost cue Wang Chung's dance hall days when Jack was trying to spin on the room.
That's a good one. And lastly, I'll end on a nice note where Torchwood Jack says to Captain Jack, go after her. Kiss her goodbye. Anything can happen tomorrow. And Captain Jack says, it's just a routine training exercise. I'm hardly going to die. And Torchwood Jack says, that's when they catch you, when you least expect it. You don't know what's ahead. Kiss her goodbye.
Mm-hmm. So. Right. And then also the quote, I just think you should live every night like it's your last. Make tonight the best night of your life. You're alive right here, right now. Men are fine.
Exactly. Good advice. So what's your rating for this story?
10 out of 10 great quotes.
Oh, you really like this one.
Yes.
Is this your all-time favorite Torchwood episode?
I think so. This one rotates with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
See, that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's because I just love James Marsters as Captain John Hart. Love him as so funny. Mm-hmm. I think that's my favorite. But although I have to say, Children of Earth is probably my favorite story because it's just so good. So it's kind of, as far as a single, I'll say, how's this? I'll say Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is my favorite single episode. And Torchwood Children of Earth is my favorite story. There we go.
There you go.
That sounds good. Yeah, let's work with that. So my rating, I'm not going to give it a 10, but I'm going to give it a 9. I thought that was really good. 9 out of 10 formulas written in Tasha's blood.
Ooh, nice one.
Thank you. So, very strong ratings from both of us.
Yes.
So, reverse the polarity.
Okay.
I thought I was trying to figure out what would be a good Doctor Who episode if you just watched this Torchwood episode. So I was thinking about it and I was like, well, this one seems like pretty obvious because I'm going to recommend The Empty Child. The ninth episode of Series 1 in 2005, written, of course, by Stephen Moffat, where this is the one where the Ninth Doctor and Rose follow a time-traveling metal cylinder to London during, you guessed it, the Blitz of World War II. Landing about a month from the cylinder, the Doctor tries to track it when Rose discovers a young boy wearing a gas mask on a nearby roof. And that leads to Rose climbing the tethering cable of a barrage balloon, which gets carried off the ground. And it's there where she encounters, you guessed it, Captain Jack Harkness. Not the real Captain Jack Harkness, but the one pretending to be Captain Jack Harkness. Torchwood Jack, as we know. Who claims to be a former time agent from the future posing as a Royal Air Force officer. And he rescues Rose with his camouflage spaceship. I wonder whatever happened to that spaceship.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Before Rose falls from the balloon, and then he ends up flirting with Rose, mistaking her for the potential customer of an object that he's willing to sell. Rose kind of plays along trying to figure out what Jack's up to, but insists she needs to discuss the matter with her partner before buying. And that later leads to Rose taking Jack to meet the doctor. And that's, it's in that they go to the Albion Hospital where just so happens that the patients there are, have these strange gas mask-like faces. And They all suddenly start to rise up, chasing the Doctor, Rose, and Jack, and eventually they get cornered in a room and converge on them, all asking, "Are you my mummy?" And over again, and that's a great cliffhanger. So that's where we leave off. But you guys know the rest of the story, so there's no point in going on to the Doctor dances, but. I thought this would be a good one because, well, hey, this is the second of 4 Captain Jack Harknesses in this time period.
Yes.
As I talked about. All right. So you enjoyed Captain Jack Harkness. Check out The Empty Child. But you probably already seen it, but it's worth it.
And Charles, to answer your question from last week's
episode
about the big finished Torchwood audios with the main cast, of Owen, Yanto, Tosh, Gwen, and Jack.
Yeah.
The story Believe.
Okay.
And then a current one from this most current season called Tropical Beach Sounds.
Okay. So only 2 with a full cast.
So only with the full cast. And then later on, there's some really good, team ups. There's a Reese and Yanto team up,
that sounds...
which is it's called Reese and Yanto's Excellent Barbecue.
Which is a fantastic title. I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice play on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yes, it's as good as it sounds.
Is it that good? I can imagine. It's got to be hilarious, right?
It is, okay. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I like that. I'm going to have to check that one out. Well, that's interesting. Only 2. I would have thought there would have been a few more. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there is the Torchwood archive, but I think that's just the retrospective. There's no real story. It's just talking about the series that memory serves.
Yeah, wasn't that done for the 10th anniversary or something?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's what I thought. I don't have it, but I remember reading something about that. Okay. Well, thanks for the recommendations, Holly. I'm glad thanks for looking that up and picking up on my question. I appreciate that.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm glad you covered that so well.
And the Captain John stuff.
Yeah.
Completely awesome.
Really?
Yes. Oh yes.
Well,
if they go on a sale, they're worth it.
James Marsters, I can't imagine that would be anything but, right? Because he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes.
I became a fan of his, obviously, watching Buffy and him playing Spike, and then I followed him onto other things like Runaways. He's really good at Runaways. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yes, I've seen Runaways.
Yeah, so, and other places. So, yeah. And of course, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, where he's fabulous.
Yes.
All right. Obviously, since Holly's here, we don't get any letters from her, but that's okay. I think she's more than covered herself. So you get a pass this time, obviously, because you were kind enough to help me out and be my co-host this week, and also you also did that nice little homework assignment and researched the Torchwood audios for us. So thank you for that. So
you're very welcome.
But we do have one, thankfully, Dave Proctor writing in.
Yay!
About Captain Jack Harkness. So he writes in, "Hello, TARDIS crew." Well, hello, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
I guess the TARDIS is in Cardiff to collect some energy. It's a lovely city. Enjoy. I haven't seen too very many Torchwoods, but this one I've seen before, and it is one of my favorites. I've always enjoyed stories where time travelers have to leave messages for the future using available means. Bilis Manger, the caretaker, does his best Vincent Price. I think that's fair.
Yes.
That's a fair comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Gwen, with a background in law enforcement, is the character that I most identify with, and I love how curious and quick on her feet she is. Yeah, exactly. That's one of her strongest traits. It's good to see Jack as a human with human weaknesses. He rarely shows this side of himself. He really has strong ties to World War II. Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which you've more than proven with the 4 timeline.
Exactly. The 4 Jacks. Yeah, exactly. I really like Bern Gorman, Owen Harper. Well, I guess somebody has to like Owen, right?
Yeah.
Not me,
this episode
personally.
not likable.
Yeah, no. But, somebody does, I guess. I watched him first as Major Hewlett in Turn, the story of Washington's spies in the Revolution. Yeah, that was, I think, on AMC, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think I watched a couple of those episodes. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And this was a little bit more drama than action, but a solid story. I give this episode 9 TARDISes, TARDI, ? Fueling risks in time and space. Thank you, David K. Proctor. Well, thank you, Dave. Got a very strong 9 from Dave as well.
Yes.
All right. And I probably should mention, I didn't mention this in trivia, but this episode was actually so good that it got nominated for a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Short Form, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then last year around this time during the lockdown, they were doing live tweets with Torchwood episodes, and this was one of them with John Barrowman. Yeah.
That had to be fun, right?
Oh, it was.
I missed that, but yeah, I was fortunate enough to have seen John Barrowman in live in person at a convention, and I highly recommend, if you have the opportunity to see a panel with John Barrowman on it, you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Put everything else on hold, because the man is a solid entertainer. He knows how to work a room, and he always delivers. So go see him if you get the chance. Hopefully, if we ever get this COVID thing worked out, hopefully we can do that again. But I definitely appreciated seeing him and meeting him and getting his autograph and stuff. And so, great guy. All right. So if you want to be like Dave and typically Holly, please do write to us at nextstopeverywheresmg@gmail.com. That's nextstopeverywheresmg for Southgate Media Group @gmail.com. Or you can find us on Twitter at nextstopsmg on Twitter. Facebook, of course, Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. Or Instagram at Next Stop Everywhere podcast. And Holly, I have a feeling I know where they can find you, but if you would, please let everyone know, so they can listen to you just like I do.
Yes. You can find me as 1/5 of the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find us on Facebook, the 5ishfangirls.com website, and you can follow me personally at HollyMac_79 on Twitter and Instagram.
Excellent. Yeah, it was kind of funny because Zan Sprouse, who you've heard here on Next Stop Everywhere, and I were talking, we were talking Ghostwood, I believe, and somehow we got into the discussion of the Five-ish Doctors reboot.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, that quickly turns into a discussion of the Fangirls Podcast, because that's where you guys got your name, right?
Yes, that's where we got the name.
So
Yep.
then we started talking about your podcast, and so I thought it was pretty fun.
Cool.
So Five-ish Fangirls got a shout out on Ghostwood. I just wanted to mention that.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, we always appreciate you, all of you. Yes, you and Rachel and all the others. So check out their podcast, guys. It's fabulous. All right. As for me, of course, at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Facebook, and at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, and my blog of geeky things. Come on, you.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. We're talking about all the stuff we talk about here, Next Stop Everywhere. So Doctor Who, Torchwood. Yes, Torchwood. Go figure. The Sarah Jane Adventures, Big Finish audios, and more. All kinds of comic book news, all kinds of sci-fi stuff, just whatever I'm interested in, and news of my other podcasts for Southgate Media Group, including the Fandom Zone podcast, where DJ Nick and I, we're right now going through the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and a certain Holly Mack is writing in.
Yes, I am.
Apparently really enjoying the series right along with us. So if you want to hear more from Holly and also Dave Proctor, you want to check us out on the Fandom Zone. We're having a ball over there, as Holly could probably attest. And you're really enjoying the Falcon and the Winter Soldier right along with us. I love getting your emails, especially when they're like, don't open until you've seen this episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I have to make sure. Because I don't want you to open it up before and get spoiled.
I really appreciate that, because Lori and I think I've discussed on the Phantom Zone, is that we kind of that's kind of our evening on the Fridays, that we go get Five Guys burgers and we come back and we kind of sit back and we watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier or whatever Marvel Cinematic Universe shows on, and so yeah, that's kind of our evening. So Holly watches it earlier in the day. But she's very careful about not spoiling it. So I just want to give you my appreciation for that.
You're welcome. Because I have a coworker that I work with in the mornings who watches, and it's just like, that's our lunch talk. So it's just like,
Oh, okay. I was worried. For a minute there, I thought you said that she was going to spoil it for you. So you have to watch it. Hurry up.
Kind of too. It's like, I better watch so I'm ready for lunch.
So you don't get spoiled in the process. Yeah, I understand. I get that. But that's okay. That's good. It gives you something to talk about over lunch. Also, you can check me out on Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast, where Zan Sprouse and I talk Twin Peaks, David Lynch. We just finished talking On the Air, the short-lived ABC series that was produced by Mark Frost and David Lynch, directed by David Lynch. But coming up next, we're going to be discussing for the next 3 episodes, and this is an interesting one, Hotel Room, which was a short anthology series that aired on HBO in 1993. David Lynch directed the first and the third episodes, and it features some David Lynch film veterans in this appearing as characters, but also some actors that he's never worked with elsewhere. So if you're kind of interesting to see if you're familiar with the actress Mariska Hargitay from Law & Order Special Victims Unit, or an actor by the name of Crispin Glover, the guy who played, Marty McFly's dad, George McFly, in Back to the Future, and you thought, well, hey, Crispin Glover's an actor who really should work with David Lynch. Well, this is where it happens. So you might want to tune in for these episodes. I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion. And I've never seen them, and Zan has not watched them since 1995. So this is going to be quite the revelation, I think, for the both of us. I hope everybody checks it out. And then lastly, but certainly not leastly, Drunk Cinema, where Zan and I, we have this is our kind of after party to the gold standard of the Oscars podcast, as we kind of coined with Nick, that where Zan and I, we kick back, we have adult beverages, adult conversation, and we kick back and watch movies that we both love. And recently we watched Forbidden Planet, which I had not seen, but Zan had. She recommended it. I really enjoyed it. And then coming up next, we're going to flip the script a little bit, and Zan's going to watch a movie that she has not seen, but I have, and I really enjoy. We're going to discuss Kung Pao Enter the Fist, the 2002 martial arts comedy starring Steve Odenkirk. And if you've ever seen this movie, it's a funny movie, but it's a weird movie. And I like to describe it as, it's almost like if Mystery Science Theater 3000 and the movie Airplane had a baby, a martial arts baby, and this is the result. So hopefully that sells it, and you guys check it out with us. If you get a chance, it's like maybe a $3 rental on Amazon Prime Video or iTunes or something. So it's not very expensive to rent if you want to watch it with us. If you don't own it already or can't find it, hope you watch it with us because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to discuss that. Unfortunately, Zan has had some company this week, so we can't record this week. So it's going to be about 2 more weeks, but then we'll get to it. And hope everybody tunes in. And thanks to everybody who continues to support all the podcasts. So please keep that up. And other than that, Holly, do you have any other final thoughts before we sign off?
No, but we should probably tell everybody what we're going to be talking next week.
Well, that's a great idea, because next time on Next Stop Everywhere, episode 228, as a certain Holly Mack returns once again to discuss. You want to tell it, Holly? Which one they're going to discuss? We're going to discuss
Something Borrowed, a.k.a. Torchwood, the wedding.
Yes, Something Borrowed. The 9th episode of Torchwood Series 2, where we get to see Gwen and Reese finally tie the knot, and we get to see what Gwen would look like preggers.
Yes.
And all on the same day.
Yes.
So won't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully Jesse is going to be feeling better so that he can join us for this, because this is going to be obviously something special. So if you got any thoughts about Something Borrowed, watch that episode and then write in to us and share it with us, because I think it's going to be a great discussion. And I'm really glad that you're going to be joining us for that one.
Yes, I am as well.
And this is also another one of your favorites.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about that next time. So, Holly, thank you so much for helping, fill in for Jesse and also for being here. I mean, I know you're already scheduled to be here, but you didn't expect it to be just you and me. So I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I did. I had a great time.
Great. Because
thanks for having me back.
We always love having you on, and you do a fabulous job. So
thank you.
You did a great job filling in for Jesse and keeping me straight and sharing all the great information about all the Torchwood books and the Torchwood audios. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. There might be a few more for next week.
That's great. Bring it on. I'm all for it. I want to learn. I want to learn. Give me all the info. Need the info.
Right.
Give it to me.
All right.
All right. So you heard it. So everybody come on back. Thanks for listening. And then come on back next time, episode 228, Something Borrowed, with yours truly, Holly Mack, fingers crossed, Jesse Jackson, right here on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.